Good evening. I'd like to welcome you tonight to the February 13th, 2024 meeting of the Salina USD 305 Public Schools Board of Education. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3 on our agenda is approval of the agenda. There is an amendment to the personnel report that was provided. There are no other amendments. Entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Thanks. In a second.
I second it.
Thank you. Motion in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 6-0. 5-0. Can't count. Next, on to item 4, recognitions and presentations with Jennifer Camden.
Good evening. We're going to begin tonight with the You Make a Difference Awards. And first, we have Jesus Danny Herrera, Assistant Cook at Kitchen 2, Central High School. When the bustle of lunchtime begins at Central, Danny's smile stands out. She warmly welcomes students. Her enthusiasm for life is evident and inspiring to everyone around her. Danny's politeness and considerate nature support the school community and help nurture our students. Thank you, Danny, for making a difference. Darren Bach, building mechanic at Central High School. Darren's willingness to go beyond his job duties to help make Salina Public Schools a great place to be was demonstrated during a winter storm. A student had gotten her car caught in a snowdrift near Salina Stadium, and Darren showed up ready to help. Though there were many needs for Central's building mechanic to attend to, he put our students first. Thank you, Darren, for making a difference. Doug Stein, facility manager at Central High School. Doug was contacted during that January storm about the student's car stuck in a snowdrift, and he was quick to respond, shovels in hand. His kindness to the student was expressed when he instructed her to stay in the car and warm up while he and Darren freed her car. Afterward, he worked with a colleague to plow the road to avoid further issues. Thank you, Doug, for making a difference in making Salina Public Schools a great place to be. And next, we're going to recognize our Horizon teachers. Teachers who have demonstrated excellence during their first full year of teaching are nominated to be our District Horizon teachers. From the pool of nominations, an elementary and a secondary teacher are chosen. We are proud to announce this year's Horizon Award recipients, Camden Schreiber and Josh Rubino. Camden is in her second year as fourth grade teacher at Sunset Elementary School. She received her bachelor's degree from Kansas State University and is currently working toward her master's degree in instructional technology at Fort Hays State University. I now invite Camden to the podium.
Hello. I stand here today humbled and immensely grateful to receive the USD 305 Horizon Teaching Award. It is truly an honor to be recognized for something that I'm passionate about and deeply committed to, the noble profession of teaching. First and foremost, I would like to express my gratitude to my fellow educators and the school administration for their unwavering support and collaboration. Teaching is a team effort, and I'm fortunate to work with such a dedicated and talented group of professionals. Your guidance and encouragement have played a significant role in my growth as an educator. I am also immensely grateful to my students who have inspired me to continuously strive for excellence. Their curiosity, enthusiasm, and thirst for knowledge have been the driving force behind my commitment to providing a nurturing and enriching learning environment. Teaching is not just a profession, it's a calling. It's about igniting a spark, nurturing potential, and empowering young minds to reach their fullest potential. It is about instilling a love for learning that goes beyond the boundaries of a classroom. As educators, we have the power to shape the future one student at a time. I also want to acknowledge the countless teachers who have influenced and inspired me throughout my own educational journey. Their dedication, passion, and commitment to excellence continue to guide me in my endeavors. In accepting this award, I'm reminded of the profound responsibility that comes with being an educator. It is a responsibility that I do not take lightly. I pledge to continue striving for excellence, pushing the boundaries of innovation, and advocating for the transformative power of education. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for your support, encouragement, and belief in me. This award is not just a reflection of my efforts, but a testament to the collective dedication and passion of all educators who work tirelessly to make a difference in the lives of their students. Thank you.
Thank you, Camden. Josh Rubino is a second-year English language arts teacher at Central High School, where he teaches 10th and 12th grade English. Josh graduated from the University of Kansas with a bachelor's degree in English and is currently earning his teaching certification through Fort Hays State University. Josh, you are invited to the podium at this time.
Hello, and thank you. You'd think public speaking would get a little easier after standing in front of students every day, but I'm afraid to say it has not, so bear with me. First of all, I want to thank the Board of Education and Salina Public Schools for presenting me this award. I'm honored to be a Horizon recipient. I also like to thank Miss Tiffany Lowe out there somewhere for nominating me, and Miss Exline for bringing the award to my classroom. Funny story, we were actually in the middle of standardized testing when she came in with the award and the fanfare, so I apologize for having to sort of shoo you out a little bit there. I also want to thank my colleagues in the English department who inspire me and make me feel welcome every day, and I especially want to thank my former English teacher turned mentor, Miss Katrina Parody. To be completely honest, I never expected to become a teacher. In college, the most consideration I had given to the profession was some casual annoyance every time I told somebody that I was an English major and they said something like, "So what are you going to do, teach?" Honestly got really tired of hearing that one. And so much so that I told myself that I would not become a teacher under any circumstances. That idea clearly did not last very long. So I graduated college with an English degree, moved back home, and the post-college existential crisis began to set in. I knew I wanted to do something meaningful and something community-oriented, but I just wasn't sure what. And then I saw Miss Parody at a friend's wedding in the May of 2022, and she told me that an English position was opening at Central and that I should apply. And I laughed at the time because I honestly thought she was joking. I didn't have a teaching degree, so I thought I was not qualified at all. But lo and behold, a few months later, she texted me again, urging me to apply, and it kind of felt like a sign from fate or something. So I thought, what the heck, I will apply. I had worked as a writing consultant my senior year in college, and I liked that. Teaching couldn't be that different, right? I didn't think I had a much chance of getting hired anyways, so I applied, and I got an interview. And then before I knew it, I was accepting the job, and I had a ton of paperwork to do. And I was terrified. I had no idea what I was doing, nor what I was getting myself into. I'd never written a lesson plan or done anything like that. And I couldn't even imagine myself standing in front of a bunch of teenagers talking about Shakespeare or subordinating conjunctions. It was this sort of great unknown. But then I found out that Mrs. Parody would be my mentor, my teacher once again. And this made me feel a little bit better. Now, nearly 2 years later, I am not sure what I would have done without her guidance and the camaraderie of my colleagues and department. I feel that I have found a community of people who care about me, welcome me, give me ideas, validate my ideas, and who are there for me on those tough days. And there are tough days. I'm still learning how to manage this career, how to not let the occasional negative experiences eclipse those wonderful moments when a student says something about a text that you had never thought of, or writes something profound. These are the things that make it meaningful, as you all know. And it's these things that make me feel that sometimes things work out when you sort of take a step into that unknown, as long as you have people to lean on. And I've realized that maybe my role as a teacher, ultimately, is to help support students as they take their own steps into that unknown. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. And in recognition of these awards, Camden and Josh's pictures have been placed in the hallway outside this room, and they are awarded an engraved plaque and an apple pin for this recognition. Congratulations. And now we will be recognizing our Superintendent's Excellence Awards. Tonight, Kerrigan Warhurst, student photographer intern from South High, will take pictures of our students. We appreciate your work. Our first group of awards this evening goes to orchestra students from Central High School. Lindsay Modine is the orchestra director. Will you please join Superintendent Exline in the front, and will the orchestra students from Central please line up next to them as well? The Kansas Music Educators Association, or KMEA, has two all-state orchestras, a string orchestra and a full orchestra. Both orchestra groups will perform at a concert at the Century II Convention Center in Wichita on February 24. As I call your name, please step towards Superintendent Excellence so you can receive your award. And after you receive that award, please walk to the end of the line. Remain standing until everyone's gotten theirs. Armando Duran, senior, full orchestra, 3-year participant. Olivia Gubareva, senior, string orchestra, a 2-year participant. John Rose, Jr., string orchestra. Please allow the Board of Education to congratulate you. Our next award goes to an orchestra student from South High School. Tyler Cooter is the orchestra director, and Alina Raseo is our orchestra student. Will you both please join Superintendent Exline at the front? Of course, there are many activities going on, so often our students are unable to attend, and our staff as well. But we will add that Alina Arceo is a sophomore in the string orchestra, and she was a 2-year participant, so congratulations to her. Our next group of awards goes to the debate students at South High School. Benjamin Risto is the debate coach. Will you please join Superintendent Exline in front, and will the debate students from South please line up as well? And they may all be busy. So we'll read their names. We have Lillian Artis, a senior, tied for 8th. Elizabeth Lovett, junior, tied for 8th. Grady Smith, junior, tied for 4th. Jose Pinedo de la Torre, sophomore, tied for 4th. Destiny Gonzalez Keopimani, junior, and Nevaeh Bennett, freshman. Congratulations to all of them. Next, we recognize the debate students at Central High School. Emma Webb is the debate coach. Unable to be here this evening, Lexi Ellerbeck, though, will be in her place. Please join Superintendent Exline in the front, and will the debate students from Central please line up as well. Nehemiah Gomendoza, a senior. Keegan Madison, a senior. Olivia Owings, junior, tied for 4th. Mackenzie Wisby, junior, tied for fourth. Please allow the Board of Education to congratulate you. Our next group of awards goes to the choir students at South High School. Eddie Creer is the choir director. Will you please join Superintendent Exline in the front? And will the choir students from South please line up next to them? The following students were selected to be part of the KMEA All-State Choir groups that will also perform on February 24 at the Century 2 Convention Hall. So we'll read the names. In the KMEA Mixed Choir, we have Kirsten Lamia, senior, 3-year participant, Andres Vasquez, junior, and in the KMEA Treble Choir, Isabel Fulkerson, senior. Congratulations to all of them. Now we recognize choir students at Central High School. Ryan Holmquist is the choir director. Please join Superintendent Exline in the front. And if the choir students from Central will please line up as well. In the KMEA Mixed Choir, we have Kaden Kumo, senior. Grace Corman, senior. Sarah Day, sophomore. Xander Flanner, senior. Jackson Rutz, senior. Bryn Shaft, junior. In the KMEA Treble Choir, Abigail Ludes, senior. Would you please allow the Board of Education to congratulate you now? Our next group of awards goes to the band students at Central High School. Guillermo Rodriguez is the band director. Please join Superintendent Exline in the front with the band students. The following students are members of the Central High Jazz Band and were selected to perform at the KMEA In-Service Workshop in Wichita on February 23rd. This is one of the highest honors a high school music ensemble in Kansas can achieve. Students, just a reminder, when I call your name, please step towards Superintendent Exline to receive the award. And after you've received your award, go back to the end of the line and remain standing. Thank you. Carlos Aguilar, senior. David Alba, freshman. Corbin Banninger, senior. Corbin was also selected as an all-state band member. Catherine Baller, freshman. Casey Brown, freshman. Rorik Krebs, sophomore. Brock Dalton, senior. Brock was also selected as an all-state band member. Jordan Edwards, sophomore. Caroline Fields, junior. Landon Hutchcraft, freshman. Mark Hyman, sophomore. Caleb Johnson, senior. Jasmine Kassam, junior. Charles Kilpatrick, sophomore. Tegan Lausang, freshman. Miguel Lopez Gonzalez, senior. Miguel was also selected as an all-state jazz band member. Julian Lundberg, sophomore. Adam Aris Nava, junior. Christina Perkins, freshman. Travis Phillips, sophomore. Mariah Prophet, senior. Jaheim Sandoval, sophomore. Timothy Zach, junior. Please allow the Board of Education to congratulate you now. Our next group of awards goes to the art students at Central High School. Larry Cullens, Irma Garcia, Noah Wellbrock-Talley are the art teachers at Central. Please join Superintendent Exline in the front. And will all the art students from Central please line up next to them? These art students took part in the Eastern Kansas Region Scholastic Art Awards competition. Together, the students placed 7th overall in the state of Kansas and first place in the Class 5A with the number of total awards they earned. The following student earned a gold key. Katone Kitagawa, freshman. The following students earned a silver key. Keely Hill, senior, earned 2 silver keys and 2 honorable mentions. William Bohr, Jr., also earned an honorable mention. Emily Melendres, senior. The following students earned an honorable mention. Rain Fulton, freshman, earned 2 honorable mentions. Olivia Gubareva, senior. Annabelle Lesage, senior. Caitlin Martin, junior. Alexis Penner, Jr. Mariah Prophet, Senior, earned 2 honorable mentions. Yarisa Sandoval, Senior. Carrie Sawyer, freshman. please allow the Board of Education to congratulate you. And now we will recognize the thespian troupe at South High School. Shyland Wheaton is the theater director. Will you please join Superintendent Exline in the front, and will the thespians from South please line up next to them? The South High Thespian Troupe earned a Gold Honor Troupe Award, participated in the lobby display competition, and earned several superior and excellent ratings in the Thespi events. Emily Streeter, Senior, President. Emily served as the 2023-24 State Board Officer. Maya White, Junior. Maya was selected to be a State Thespian Officer for 2024-25. Soren Mannenbach, Senior. Annabella Carter, Sophomore. Megan Graff, Senior. Kara Davis, Senior. Avery Hartman, Senior. Caitlin Geist, Junior. Chloe Vega, Junior. Please allow the Board of Education to congratulate you. And our next group of awards goes to the Thespian Troupe at Central High School. Barb Hilt is the theater director. Will you please join Superintendent Exline, along with all of her students. Thespian Troupe 639 took first place in the one-act chapter select competition at the Kansas Thespian Festival. This is their fourth consecutive year of winning one-act competition. The troupe also earned a Gold Honor Troupe Award, first place in the lobby display competition, as well as presented a main stage production of Noises Off. Xander Flanner, Senior, Treasurer. Mackenzie Martinez, Senior, Publicity Chair. Jackson Rutz, Senior. Andrew Graber, Sophomore. Max Sheffergen, Sophomore. Bryn Schaff, Junior. Kashia Peterson, Senior, Vice President. Adeline Duxler, Senior. Benjamin Campbell, Senior, President. Alyssa Maas, Junior, Secretary. Wyatt Angel, Sophomore, earned a superior rating and was selected to be a State Thespian Officer for 2024-25. Anna Kraft, Sophomore, Advocacy Chair. Mary Brown Morales, Sophomore. Adeline Yagodinsky, Sophomore. Joseph Cepeda, Sr. Donovan Johnson, Sr. Michelle Simmons, Sr., historian, earned a superior rating. Caden Camo, Sr. Marcos Lira, Sr. Carson Ablard, Jr. Bishop Talbot, sophomore. Keaton Myers, senior. Daisy Frank, sophomore. Ellie Rykoff, sophomore. Madison Burnt, sophomore. Jada Rasmussen, junior. Katie Morgan, sophomore. Alex Parker, sophomore. Anastasia Coral, junior, lobby display team. Gabrielle Freeland, sophomore. Catherine White, senior. Lillian Crow, junior, lobby display team. Bailey Miller, senior. And Shia Heltzer, senior.
They were part of our one act because they were musicians. Okay, so give us names.
And Brock Dalton, congratulations. And Janae Montoya. Congratulations to all of you. Please allow the Board of Education to congratulate you as well.
We always enjoy being able to recognize students and staff for great achievements. Two great Horizon Award winners tonight, and over 100 student honors we got to present, so great things happening in Salina Public Schools. Next on our agenda, item 5, the consent agenda. Those items this evening are minutes of the January 9th, 2024 regular meeting, the personnel report and its addendum, financial reports, which include the January's bills list, the December treasurer's report, the December investment report, and the December journal entries. Approval of the following encumbrance listings. First to Johnson Controls in the amount of $167,608.36 for the purchase of replacement servers for the video security system. To Clean Harbors Environmental Services, Inc. for the disposal of expired hand sanitizer in the amount of $58,124. Approval of the audit contract with Angler and Gaddert Chartered for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024 in the amount of $21,165. Approval of a CKCIE contract addendum with Presence Learning in the amount of $28,167.81. Approval of the curriculum fees for 2024-25. Approval of the Kansas Early Head Start Child Care Partnership Grant application in the amount of $697,000. No match for this grant is required. And approval of the Kansas Early Head Start Home Visitation Grant application in the amount of $200,000. And again, no match is required for that grant either. Is there a motion to approve? Whoever.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. In a second.
Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 5-0. Item 6 is public forum. We don't have any requests this evening to speak. On to item 7A, 2024-2025 school calendar. Superintendent Exline.
We had our calendar committee meeting and actually reviewed the calendar that you had tentatively approved last year. We did make one adjustment to that calendar. We moved an in-service day to October 14th to allow us to have visible learning training earlier in the year rather than waiting until April so that we had plenty of time to implement what we'd learned. And so what we're asking for at this time is just approval of the calendar as presented.
Any questions? Is there a motion? No, don't everybody jump at once.
I will.
Please, thank you.
Okay. I move that the 2024-2025 school calendar be approved as presented.
Thanks. In a second. And seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And the 2025-2026 tentative school calendar.
Okay, so each year we actually do a calendar a complete year out so that families can plan and we give tentative dates. The calendar that is before you actually mirrors the one that you just approved with like dates for a year later. The one thing that you'll notice on this calendar as well is that we brought that later in the year in service Teacher Professional Development Day up to the fall again for visible learning to allow for implementation of that. So at this time, we would just ask that you would approve that calendar unless you see concerns or have questions.
Any questions? Ian wants to make a motion?
I move that we approve the tentative calendar for 2025-2026 school year as presented.
Thanks. In a
I
second.
second.
Bonnie seconds. That was really nice and fast, guys. Nice work on that. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. On to our discussion agenda and item 8A, Salina Baseball Enterprises with Kenny Hancock.
Hello, nice to see everyone again. Superintendent Exline asked that I come and address a potential rumor that was out that the project, the baseball project renovating Wilbur Field had substantially changed in its scope. And I assure you, nothing has changed in its scope. What has changed is the timing of when we start construction. The development agreement that you guys were a part of when we did the Dean Evans Stadium project, you weren't a part of this development agreement. It was simply between us and the city. It stated that we couldn't start any construction until 100% of the funds were raised for the entire project, which is approximately $3 million. We're about $300,000 short of that goal, but we didn't want to, and we're still fundraising and still meeting with potential donors. We just didn't want to put off construction because we wanted the 4A state tournament to always be here and make sure we were have a home. And so we wanted to start now because we have plenty of money to do literally everything except the wraparound grandstand and the elevated seating platform. There's plenty of money on our account to do the turf, which is fully turfed, all the drainage system, lights, fencing, bullpens, dugouts, batting cages, everything to play baseball. We just don't have all the money raised to put in the elevated seating platforms right now. And we're still raising money, and we anticipate being successful, and our goal is to do that. So we asked for permission to have a change made to the development agreement, which set off quite a few domino effect. One thing that we had to get approved was reapproval of the naming rights for Pestinger Family Stadium. We went in front of the Parks and Rec Board, and they approved it. And last night, we went in front of the City Commission, and that was reapproved, and so was our request to be able to start construction immediately. Now, and it's subject to, we can only enter into contracts for the amount that we have the funds for, and we are in the process of putting together the fund certification document that we'll get to them in the next day or so. We anticipate construction starting probably next week is what our plan is, meaning the turf company will mobilize and get their equipment on site and start getting ready to grub the field. That means we take off all the grass that we're going to take off, and then we'll start with the design of this system, and they'll start actually doing the work. And the reason we needed to get this done early is when we get it, the first thing you have to do is called soil stabilization, and it involves a process where you have to dig up the soil to a certain depth and then cement stabilize it with a liquid slurry. And you need several days, maybe as much as 2 weeks, depending on the weather, before you can actually start putting in your drain lines. And we can still get it done in time for the state tournament if we start within, I actually told them March, but they would love, they're chomping on the bit to get started. So we still have time to get it done. But if we waited until we had raised all the money, we would have to put it off until next year, because we didn't want it to be torn up during the state tournament. So that's really all this was about. I know that last night I was at the City Commission, and your agreement with the city for usage was also passed on a 5-0 vote. That's real. I don't have a formal presentation other than I'm willing to ask or answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Good. Thank you for the update.
You are welcome.
Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
partnership and everything you all are doing to.
You're welcome. We're
beautify
excited
those
to get
facilities.
started. Thank you.
Thanks. Next item on our discussion agenda, item 8B, addition of middle school girls wrestling with Danny Munsell and Kurt Exline.
Good evening, I'm Kurt Exline.
And I'm Danny Munsell.
Thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time. Girls wrestling is gaining popularity in the state of Kansas and across the country. Over the last 2 years, we have seen an increase in our numbers of female wrestlers, and that is not including several more who would be interested if they were not wrestling males.
And until now, the females in our middle school have been wrestling the males. And as part of the boys program, beginning this year, our league has decided to split wrestling into a boys season and a girls season. The boys season would be prior to the winter break. The girls would be after winter break. South Middle School and Lakewood Middle School are in the Wichita Suburban League. Right now, half our schools have a girls season. The rest of us will, pending board approval. So next year, we would like to fully fund a girls wrestling program for the 2024 program. We'd like to be able to participate and schedule a girls season for 25. Any questions? Go ahead.
Do you perceive that having any conflict with any of the other sports at that time?
Right now, our girls basketball was before Christmas break and boys is after, so we just switched. Boys wrestling is before Christmas, girls will be after. So it coincides with both programs.
Did you say how many girls are wrestling, or how, can you tell us that?
Okay. At South Middle School in 2022, we had 18 girls that finished the season. This year, we only had 8, but it was due to circumstances that were beyond our control, injuries and things like that. So, but just to let you know, talking to the Newton athletic director and wrestling coach, after they split the boys out from the girls, they doubled their team size. So, and that's what I'm hearing from a lot of other coaches as well.
And Lakewood had 15 last year. We started with 15 this year. We ended with 9, and that was on stances. A lot of our girls in 7th grade will wrestle, but when they get to 8th grade, the parents will not let them wrestle.
And a lot of them have gone on to the high school and done incredible jobs.
So this is somewhat off topic, but on topic. At the high school division, are you going to separate those so that they have tournaments for the girls, tournaments for the boys? Because the last one you had at South was overcrowded.
Are you talking high school or middle school?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to talk to the high school, talk about high school. We're just a middle school.
I can speak to that just a little bit. At the high school level, they have separated the boys and girls wrestling. There are options of tournaments that girls can go that are females only, and options that are males only, and then there are still some where they're wrestling on the same site on the same day. And so my guess is, as it continues to grow on the female side, you'll see a complete split just because of the sheer number of people, like you said.
And are they going to have some type of state, for lack of a better word, at the 8th grade level?
Not for middle school. We just have our league tournament at the end.
Just a league tournament?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be what that is then?
Right.
Okay.
They'll get medals at that, yes.
And just to let you know, Scott, we actually had a tournament with what was it, Concordia this year, and they didn't realize that we didn't separate out our girls and our boys, and they do up there, and so that caused quite a bit of a chaos when we were trying to get the girls some wrestling time. So there were a lot of girls that had to end up wrestling their own girls and their own team. So.
Any other questions? This is on our discussion agenda, but we could make a motion to approve it this evening if anyone feels compelled to do so.
Would that help you guys if we went ahead and moved that forward?
We actually have a league meeting tomorrow to make schedules, so yes.
Mr. President, I move that the middle school girls wrestling be moved over to an action agenda and that we move forward with that recommendation.
Is there a second?
Second.
And seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Gentlemen. Last on our discussion agenda, item 8C, visible learning update with Shanna Rector.
Good evening. Present today. Basically, I was going to just kind of show you a couple of visuals from the classrooms and from the schools. So as we're talking about visible learning next over this journey, tomorrow and on Thursday, we actually get an opportunity to work with our leadership teams. And so tomorrow we will have secondary leadership teams coming and working with Karen Flores, and she will be working with them, kind of putting their plans into motion, starting to think about their data and how it goes forward. And then on Thursday, we'll have our elementary buildings there. But one of the things that we've been doing is really focus on learning dispositions. And so looking at what students are doing in the classrooms, talking about what does a good learner look like and what does a good student look like. And so next time I will bring in the visuals for that, just to show you kind of an example of the students talk about going into the learning pit and, grappling with hard materials and coming out the other side because they have the skills to be resilient and to kind of question question and think through, how do we get through this? And then also just the idea of some of the different ways that they're providing visuals to our students to be good student learners. So I will make sure that I have that on the presentation next time. And so I'll be seeing you every month to give you a little bit of update, and we can kind of put some context to it when I come back in March. So thank you.
Thank you. On to school board reports and upcoming dates of importance. Just a couple of dates to note. Tuesday, March 26th, there's a KASB training event here in the district office at 5 p.m. That is different than our normal 5:30 meeting time at 5 p.m. And then Wednesday, April 10th, we have a BOE building visit to Stewart from 10 to 11:30. And Ann, do you want to kick off any board report?
Yes, I attended the Parks and Rec Advisory Board. I was a little bit late, so I missed Kenny's part where he presented about the baseball stadium, so I'm hoping that Bonnie can do that. I did learn that at that meeting that Kenwood Cove has a 90% retention of last year's staff, which I thought was pretty remarkable. And we worked on some goals for the coming years, and a big goal is to improve the ADA accessibility of all our facilities and parks. Thank you.
I went to the Parks and Rec Board, and what Kenny said there was what he said here, so I don't have to go into that. And then I gave out a You Make a Difference award, which whoever thought that idea up, that it was amazing. They just love to be recognized and get an award, and she almost cried. Well, anyway, it was just fun, and so that's all I have.
Attended the Heartland meeting. They're still needing teachers, but they are coming up with some new ways of doing things and new approaches. Hopefully we will see some fruits for that labor. Also, I went to I don't know what it was called, the course that the elementary school kids auditioned for. It was in Junction at the middle school. I went there and listened to that. The only disappointment was it took longer to get there than the concert lasted. So but they did a wonderful job in their concert, so to be commended for there. And then naturally I went and checked out the girls basketball, watched South varsity and JV play, so I was very impressed with them.
Good evening. I got to attend the Salina Adult Education Tour on the 24th of January with Kelly Mowbray, and we toured the facilities, sat in on some of the ESL and GED preparatory classes after covering some of the services that are offered at SAED, which included basic skill building, GED skill building, college skill building, diploma completion program, and English as a second language, and Partners for Success. So Partners for Success is a job training program designed for members of the community who are ready to make a change through obtaining gainful employment and learning the skills necessary to maintain it. And I've found that very educational, as I had not really been aware of as much as goes on out there. I knew of a few of the things, and I know some of the people that have attended it, so it was really enlightening to be able to sit there and talk with Kelly and what she has going on and discuss some of the potential challenges that she foresees in there. Also got to attend the Smoky Hill Education Service Center Executive Committee meeting on January 17th. We did that one via Zoom because the weather at the time was originally not going to be set for the meeting to go right. So we canceled the meeting, and we ended up doing it via Zoom so that we could take care of the required annual calendar and committee officer requirements that were required of us to make sure we're set up for the year in accordance with KDE. So then we also attended the KASB meeting in Topeka for new board members, board member fundamentals. That was enlightening, and I will say this much, we have a really good rapport throughout the state with the folks up there and around, so that was a really enlightening thing, and I kind of want to toot our own horn and say that it's nothing that I didn't already perceive, and that's a good thing on a whole, because my orientation pretty much covered most everything that was present at that training, so I can appreciate that on the whole premise of it. Just the other day, I had another Smoky Hill Education Service Center Executive Committee meeting, and I attended that one in person. Dana was there on phone, but I went to go meet and greet, and so we held that at the Central Region office just across from Central School, and I'm continually astounded at the amount of things that the coordination of the services, the resources, the assets that are managed across so many people and entities around the state. It's confounding how much is going on. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people playing part to getting that done. And that was really rewarding to see and enlightening on the whole. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. I attended the new board member training in Topeka with Paul, Jim Fletcher, and Superintendent Exline. Echo Paul's comments. We have a great reputation across the state, and it's interesting to see how many district leaders were in Salina or started a career in Salina, have gone on to continue to do good things for public education in the state. I also served last week on the calendar committee, which we approved that work this evening. And that's all I have to report. On to item 10, superintendent's report.
Okay, just a couple of updates for you. I did have a chance to meet with Representatives Sanders and Howe and Senator Clays to visit directly with them face-to-face about our legislative platform. Great meetings, very positive meetings with them, and I certainly appreciate them making time for me to engage in those conversations. I have been watching bills that are going through the legislature, the committee process pretty closely, and I did submit opposing testimony to House Bill 2612. That is a bill that would actually remove a district's accreditation for not following all appropriate laws, and it's written in such a way that it's immediate removal of accreditation and that there's no chance to actually try to take action to right the ship. And my opinion and what I've seen from leaders across the state and educators across the state is that every effort is made to follow the expectations and to do more than is expected. And so it was just disappointing to see legislation to that end. And so I did submit opposing testimony on that one. There is also some work being done on special education funding and how the money is counted. So that has been an interesting conversation. And there is another bill that is concerning to me about at-risk funding. And that particular bill, districts would be expected to pick a group of students, a subpopulation of at-risk students at 3rd grade and 4th grade, no problem. Set goals for them, no problem. Implement those goals over the next 5 years, no problem. We do that anyway. Implement a best practice, no problem. Where the issue is if that group of students doesn't meet the metric that is set, that we would lose half of the new at-risk funding for the following year. And in year 6, we would lose all new at-risk funding. And so diminishing resources to try to educate students that have the greatest challenge, it doesn't make sense as a model. Instead, allow us to work with the Kansas State Department of Education to have the very best practices that we can in the classroom, the best teachers in front of students that we can. That's where the difference is. And so there's some legislation like that that's going through that I'm just watching closely and will weigh in where I see that I need to. I do also want you to know that the Supreme Court did release jurisdiction over the Gannon lawsuit. You'll remember that when the findings were made on that, they held jurisdiction so that if the legislature didn't uphold what they said they would do in terms of funding, that it could go straight back to the Supreme Court. Now that the legislature has funded the Consumer Price Index and put in the money that they agreed to do, that has been released back. So at this point this year, what we hope to see is the governor's plan of starting to phase in that special education funding at 92% of excess cost. And we also hope to see that Consumer Price Index is funded. That just allows us to stay even with services. Although the CPI is high, we have increased costs like any home does. And so those fixed costs really do make it challenging if we don't get that consumer price index increase to do what we need to do for students. I think I also wanted to let you know that I am working on a collaborative project with Kansas Wesleyan, the NAACP, and Kansas State. We're exploring a way that we can get students that may not see themselves as, whether it's minority students or students who are at risk, may not see themselves as being able to go on to a post-secondary institution, maybe haven't had experience on a post-secondary campus, to try to figure out a way that we can provide them that opportunity right here in Salina. And so some neat energy around that, and I'm really excited about what will come from those conversations. I also have had two Salina Public Schools chats in the last month. One was with students at Central High, and I asked them, to Shanna's presentation earlier, what is it that makes students good learners? And to just see what they would say. And they started with some compliance-based things, that they listen, that they're respectful, that they participate, that they turn in work on time. But then they got to some of the things that we really want as far as student dispositions. Not afraid to ask questions, not afraid of constructive criticism and feedback. And so it's interesting, you can already see the conversations moving. And then I had a chat with community members, had a pretty good turnout at that. We talked about AI and AI applications in education, belonging, civic engagement, some curriculum topics, safety and security. And so good discussion there, and it's always good for me to know what's on our community members' minds. So with that, I will continue to watch what's happening at the legislative level and keep you informed if there's any place where, I think your advocacy could be used. So.
Thank you. Item 11, Heartland Early Education Updates provided in the packet for your information. And on item 12A, we have a need for an executive session for personnel. How long for the first one?
At least 15.
Let's do 20 and give us a few minutes to get there. Someone want to make that motion?
Let's see, what time is it? 6. Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education go into executive session at 6:38 for 20 minutes. Is that what you just said? For the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel and their contractual obligations. And because if this matter were discussed in open session, it might invade the privacy of those discussed. And that the Board of Education reconvene into open session at 6:58.
In a second.
Second.
Thank you. Motion in a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll be in executive session and reconvene in this room. We're gonna need to take another motion for additional time for our executive session. 7:02
Mr.
for 10
President?
minutes.
Okay. I move that the Board of Education go back into executive session at 7:02 for 10 minutes for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel and their contractual obligations. Because if this matter were discussed in open session, it might invade the privacy of those discussed, and that the Board of Education reconvene into open session at 7:12 in the SEC room.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second it.
All seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries 4-0. We'll reconvene here in this room at 7:12. I'll open us back into open session. We do have action to take based on that executive session. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I have to say, I'm sad to read this resolution, but I move that the board accept resolution number 0324 to terminate non-probationary teacher's contract for Ryan Brungart.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We do need one more executive session for personnel, the second on your list. And let's do 20 minutes for that. You got it? Sure, go ahead.
15 or 7:20?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education go into executive session at 7:16 PM for 20 minutes for the purpose of discussing the evaluation of non-elected personnel, because if this matter were discussed in open session, it might invade the privacy of those discussed, and that the Board of Education reconvene into open session at 7:36 in the SEC room.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We'll reconvene here in 20 minutes. All right, we are reconvened back in open session. We do have action to take as a result of that executive session. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I move to extend Superintendent Exline's contract by 1 year, so it would last through the school year of 2027, 2028.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We will recess here briefly and move into a work session. This will end our live stream for the evening. Thanks to those of you who are still joining us. We'll see you in March.